mother of Tupac has died in Cuba from health complications and just being of old age. She died today at 78 years old. I wanted to see how people felt about it, man. She is somebody who
I'm
is a
actually
very
like
polarizing figure.
crying.
Huh?
Right. I said when y'all was talking about rappers, I was like reading the post. I was over here crying. Like, oh my God, that's
Oh,
so sad. Yeah.
brother, crying.
Yes, I think no, I think it's just that time of it. I get real cryy these days. And I always know at this point. But yeah, that's all it is. But no, like that is like so sad because just reading that story again and like getting refreshed on
Yeah, so
how
for those who
cool she was.
don't know, she was active in the black BLA, Black Liberation Activism. Like I said, she is Tupac's godmom. Um in 1973, she and two other members were pulled over in New Jersey. A shootout happened. A state trooper was killed, and one of the BLA members was killed, Zaid Shakur. She was also shot. She was arrested and charged with murder. It was a very big thing going on in the country. They said that she didn't pull the trigger. It was a lot of activism talk, a lot of feminism talk. And she was sentenced to life. She was convicted and sentenced to life in 1977. 1979, she escaped from jail and ran to Cuba. And in 1984, she was granted political asylum in Cuba, right? And so she was basically protected by the Cuban government from extradition to the United States. If y'all don't know, we still have a fucked up relationship with Cuba. But yeah, she never was extradited. She lived to be 78 years old. She was placed on the FBI most wanted terrorist list in 2013, the first woman to ever be placed on that list. It was a $2 million reward for her capture, which they never was gonna cash in on that motherfucker. But yeah, she's very polarizing. Some people see her as a fugitive. Obviously, the American government sees her as a fugitive, putting her on the most wanted list. But a lot of people in black circles see her as a hero, see her as somebody who needs to be celebrated, right? For good reason, and just her thoughts and her views within the black community. And kind of like a a Robin Hood in the sense of, you know, taken from the man, right? Getting one back and then getting away with it. I think a lot of times in our community, we cheer on the people in which we think, got one over on them. And so she is definitely one of those people. I wanted to know how y'all felt about the news of her passing and just reflecting on her life and her impact in the community. Obviously, she had a huge impact on Tupac's life. What do y'all think about that? Go ahead, Real.
And my driveway. R.I.P. R.I.P. to her. Um, I definitely glad that she survived that shootout on the New Jersey Turnpike. Allegedly, the officer opened fire and they fired back. You know what I'm saying? One of their men got killed. And then they went and they freed her from the jail. You know what I'm saying? That's real liberation, man. Real revolutionary type shit. I like that. I support it 100%. Then Obama nut raised her thing back in 2013 from 1 million to 2 million. I can't believe they made a black man do it, but whatever. Man, she lived a great life, man. I'm proud of her, man. They fought for what she believed in. She stood on business. And I think you should defend yourself no matter who's trying to kill you. Like Malcolm X said, whether it's a two-leg dog or a four-leg dog. You know what I'm saying? If somebody's trying to shoot at you, you gotta bust back. Shit just happened. Nigga, you shot me, now you lost your life. It should just be happening. So I think she did great, man. I'm proud of her works. I'm proud of what she did. I'm proud of what she stood for. I'm proud of all those Shakurs, man. Matulu, Assata, Geronimo, Pratt, all the BLA and Black Panthers and all of them, man. I love them, man. I studied them the most. I studied that era the most, man. I love what they did, man. They really fought and really stood on real business. They wouldn't have stood for half of this shit we had today. So I thank God they did what they did, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't even have half of the shit we have now. And if they
Mm-hmm.
had the shit we have, they would have done so much more with it. So I thank God for our ancestors, that she's up in the sky with all the Harriets and the I can't even think of the names. I'm drawing a blank, but all the other people, all the Huey Newtons and Bobby Seals and Bobby Hutton and Fred Hampton and all the people that lost their lives, man. Shout out to them for laying that shit down so we could just fuck our lives off like we doing today, like we don't give a fuck what they did, but thank them for that shit.
That took a turn, Rail.
Yeah, they gave us the freedom, like blueprint. I mean, blueprint for real. Like, as far as just, being able to have certain, what I'm saying, things. Like, if it wasn't for them, like, not saying we wouldn't, elevate it at some point, but they did it at a time where it was necessary. 'Cause,
Yeah,
like,
I think, who made the quote? Shannon Sharp. He made a quote, when it came to the freedom of speech when the not Charlie Kirk, when Jimmy Kimmel, got silenced for that week and a half, and where he said that there was real struggle, back then, and rights were not permitted to us at all. And so the fight for those rights and to be able to keep those rights are more important to the people who actually had to go through it than it is to us. Right? And so that kind of speaks to what Rail is saying, is where they laid a foundation for us to fuck it off, because so many niggas came up on the stage or on the timeline, and where things that have happened in the world turn around and say, well, that ain't black folks' problem. And the truth is, yes, it is. It is always our problem, because there is always a trickle down effect, especially when it comes to rights and taking away rights. It's always going
Wait,
to come to
Rashad.
us.
No, it's not our shit because we never had the same rights anyway. We always been going through this since slavery, so that's why I be like it's not our problem because we've been dealing with this. We've been told y'all. We have seen a lot of our leaders get killed like this. We saw Fred Hampton get killed in front of his people. We saw Malcolm get killed in front of his people.
No,
We saw
I'm not
Martin get
talking
killed in
about,
front of his
I'm not
people.
talking about the
So when they talk
killing,
about
right?
rights,
I'm talking about the rights, the silencing, and those things being taken away, and where we have people like an Assata Shakur, who was doing everything that she could in her power with the black liberation activism and fighting for said rights. And then
mhm,
for us to grow up, not a
mhm,
part of that generation, and look at it like, whatever. When niggas was really dying, then Zayd Shakur, who died alongside that freeway with that cop, that nigga literally died for the
he
cause,
died.
along with
He was a
millions of others who literally gave their right for the possibility to be able to speak and not be targeted. She was, for all intents and purposes, targeted, by COINTELPRO, illegally
That's why I say.
surveilled, right?
That's why I say
All our black liberation groups, the Panthers, all of that shit, trying to get us out of there and taking away our rights, taking away our voices. And so when we see shit like this, that's why it'd be frustrating sometimes, because it'd be like, oh, it's not our fight. No, it is our fight, and we should be doing everything that we can to preserve this type of shit, or they died in vain. Or they just died in vain. Or she was just on the run for the majority of her life, living in Cuba, can't come back and see her family, can't come back to the country that she born in, and she did all that shit for no reason. If we just gonna give it back to them.
I get you, Rashad, but when you say like, 'cause you said it's not our fight, and I often say that. What do you mean by
Hey,
our
what you
fight?
mean, like Palestine, the Congo?
Like, what is our fight? What is our fight? Like, what else are we supposed to be fighting for? We're already fighting for our shit. You feel what I'm saying? So people like the Charlie Kirk, I specifically said that's
Or are you
not our
talking
fight.
about politics here in America, like today, right
Yeah,
now?
No, I'm
like,
talking about things that will affect us, because fighting is not only, um, new causes, right? But it's also preserving what we already have, right? I'm not going to bend over to pick $1 up and drop a 5 out my pocket, right? And I think that that's what we be doing, as far as we just be so focused on the right now shit and what's in front of our face, and we dropping fives out our pocket all this whole time. We don't give a fuck about the things that we already got and already preserved. And so that's why it's so easy to be like, whatever. It won't happen to us. I think that in that instance, we can't have that type of mindset. I think we have to do what's necessary to preserve because that's what our ancestors did. That's what the people who came before us did. We
I
want
mean,
more, but we gonna hold on to this shit too.
you do have to preserve. But I feel like there's a sentiment for a lot of. Then again, you know what? This might be an FBA conversation, so let me shut up.
No, this is not an FBA. Don't let Watcher scare you. This ain't no goddamn FBA conversation.
I'm not gonna get choked. I I feel like the sentiment is that we're here or that we're as good as we're ever going to get, right? And so, yes, they went through what they went through, but they went through what they went through so that we wouldn't have to do it too, right? And I think that the younger population, and by younger, I mean like what anybody that's like, I don't know, maybe like 45 and under, like they feel like this is as good as like we really might get. And they don't feel that level of oppression. They just don't feel it. And so it probably speaks to the work that they did and that they were successful in it. And as successful as I feel like for a lot of, cause I don't know what that's called, like Afro pessimism, but it's like the mindset that post civil right, like whatever we have now is kind of as good as it's going to get as far as like our stance or Black Americans stance in this country.
I think that's
Wait,
a crazy
what
mindset,
do you mean by
Kenya.
that, Kenya? You
Yo,
think white
I'm not
males
even gonna lie, bro.
That's a
I would.
hold on 1 second, Mastermind. I think that if everybody had that idea, we would be in a world of hurt. I think the forward thinkers who understood that we are in a space because you can say that about every generation. Every generation was better than the last. Like, Jim Crow happened, but shit, at least I ain't in shackles. Right? Now,
But what does the next iteration look like for Black Americans? Like okay, so what is the next iteration now? Because at this point,
but I don't know, but
Actual
I
wealth
feel
and
Kenya,
like
power,
listen,
not
I feel
just
like
wait.
we've
hold
missed
on.
the wave
I'm
that
okay.
capitalism is going to take
Wait,
everybody's like,
I'm
Eddie, I
okay with
got
saying
you
that I don't know. Hold on
bring
one
right
second,
now.
something
Mastermind. We're gonna
less
get
No,
into
no,
that
I
less to
got
process.
the
you. I
issue,
know,
bro.
I
Hold on,
know.
wait. 1 second. I'm okay with saying that I don't know, right? But I think that mindset is crazy because what if the niggas on the plantation said, well, shit, this is better than
I don't.
Africa.
It's not fair
Like,
to
and then,
say that, Rashad, because we're not on the. It's not fair to say that because
no.
this is
What
not
I'm
that,
saying,
and we're a far cry
no.
from
What I'm
that.
saying is every generation is better. And so if we had that attitude, then we wouldn't have got out of that. If we had the attitude before segregation, well, shit, at least we in a school and we got books. What could be better than this? We wouldn't have integration and segregation, right?
But you're saying things that we did not have, Rashad. Today we have it. So now shouldn't the conversation be to, I don't know, like inward to start to
no,
fix the community from the inside out? We're not
no, because
finding the white man the same anymore.
equity in this country is not just on the same level. We're not on the same playing field, right? And so that is a space. Economic financial disparity between communities and demographics is not on the same place, right? Being able to get in some of these rooms, having access, not on the same level. So there are things in which we can do. We talk about prison system all the time with higher sentencing and all. We're not on the same level in a lot of instances. So yes, there's work to be done. And so I think to look at it as, well, shit,
There's work to be done socially, legislatively, Rashad. They have I mean, the problem is not even so much the system, because then that would be to say that the civil rights people were not effective. No, they did change the legislation. They did add in the laws. Now the problem is just sick white fucks who really don't too much care about that
no,
and
but
always want to circumvent it. That
three strikes
we
is still on the books, I think. I think three strikes is still on the books.
didn't they take that back?
I think it's still on the books. I'm not gonna
No,
hold you.
they rolled that back, Rashad. Let me look it up.
I'll go ahead, Mastermind.
So I think you're both right, in a sense, but I also think to understand how you're both right, you have to understand what's actually happening. So number one, that civil rights shit did not work. That shit didn't do nothing for you. We still live in a slave economy. Niggas are still slaves. They just get to choose a master. And so the idea is that black people have phenomenal influence, right? Great influence over other cultures, but zero power, zero wealth, zero ownership. And so when it comes to what's the next iteration, right, it should be wealth, power, ownership, and control, right? Control of your narrative, right? The greatest weapon ever created was history. I don't know if you guys know this. I'm going to say it again though. The greatest weapon ever created was history. And why is that? Because when someone tells you who you are and you choose to believe them, you embody that identity. So what they have done is used that the ideas of who you might have been against you, and that's why you think, oh shit, this is nigga, we was kings and queens. Fuck you mean this is as good as it's gonna get? Right? This isn't even fucking close. If you don't have a plantation of 100 slaves, of 1,000 slaves, a lot of motherfucking work needs to be done. But to Kenya's point, I do think a lot of that work is internal and understanding yourself, your identity, who you are, and then deciding what you deserve. Because thinking that a a, a slave regime where you kind of have something that looks similar to power is the best that you'll get is insanity, in my opinion. Is literal insanity. Because why the fuck do you think that? Right? But you think that because they're like, oh, we'll give you money and then make money worthless. Right? Oh, we'll give you freedom. Right? The fact that you think it's yours to motherfucking give is a problem. Right? So like, the entire identity around black people needs to change in order for the actuality to change. So I think Kenya is right in that there's a lot of internal work that needs to be done and understanding ourselves, what we deserve, what we have, and the ideas that we embody and where the fuck they come from and who they serve. And then using those ideas to change the reality that we exist in.
Yeah, I get that. I think I say this all the time. The internal work conversation. I hate having that conversation. I'm not gonna hold you. I'm I'm not gonna hold you. I think that
You don't think niggas should go to therapy?
yes, I think that there is
You don't
work.
like it being brought up in when it's time to talk about us versus like the system. Which I get that.
Yeah, I think that that's because that is a conversation that only black people have to have. No other community has to have the internal work conversation besides us because we are programmed to
Because
take the
at
blame
this
for everything. We are
no, but
programmed
at this
to
point,
be
Rashad,
docile. We are programmed to think that if we are better, then people will be better to us. No other community has that type of mindset or understands the world
it's
in
not
that way.
us being better for people to be better to us. That's not. I
That's
don't think
essentially
that's
what niggas be saying. And Mastermind said it. That's what you said, Kenya.
No, that's not what I meant. So if I did say that, then please let me revise it. I
That's
don't
definitely not
think
what I
that
meant
that's
either.
the purpose of it happening. We're supposed to be better for us. Rashad, I'm of the belief if whatever legislative thing you're talking about or whatever systematic or institution thing, if we fixed it tomorrow, I assure you the community would still look the same. I'm talking about accountability for people's personal choices in their day-to-day life. I'm not saying that you live in a vacuum and that there aren't things that influence people's decisions. But at the end of the day, like you said, for any other conversation or any other topic, people are responsible for the things that they do. So if we look at things that are happening that we think are negative things in the community, then yes, it's an internal conversation because I don't get to say the white man, the white man, the white man when we talking about why you popping out hella kids, when we talking about why you don't want to go up and get a job, when we're talking about why you're abusive, when we're talking about why you're a shit mom and you keeping a dad from the kids. When we're having those conversations, no, it's not about the white man at that point. So what are we talking about?
But
I'm
those
sorry, P.
conversations are not indicative or a reflection of our community as a whole anyway. So
It's
even
it's
the very
indicative.
mindset, but the very mindset that those conversations, this is how I see it, right? And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but this is how I see it. The mindset of saying that is because you feel like that is a
No, it's not a
reflection
feel
of
like
our
you're
community.
ignoring reality. No, it's not a feel like. I feel like people like you like to ignore certain
No,
realities,
I can
and I
no.
don't think
What
that's
I'm saying
helpful.
is, of course that shit happened. I'm not oblivious, but that's still not a reflection of black people as a whole. So when we're talking about this shit, and you want to focus on the minority of people who are degenerate, because there is no majority of black people that is degenerate. So every time we have these conversations, you want to focus on
Rashad,
the small percentage of degeneracy in
no,
our
it's
community and
I
say,
just
well,
don't
let's
agree with
get this
that.
minority percentage together first. It's like, what the fuck is we talking about?
I don't know. I don't agree with that. I
So
think that the things that I call degeneracy are things that I believe to reach the level of degenerate. The lot of the problems that we're discussing, these are not minority problems. If because the problems are stemming from the childhood and then branching out, whatever the problems are, whether it's literacy, which is not a minority problem, literacy, employment. Right now, it's the lowest it's ever been. When we're talking about family matters, these are not minority problems. The majority of our children are born out of wedlock. I know that you're going to say that does not mean that the parents are not together, but we still have the highest rate of children in homes without two parents, regardless of you saying whether they together or not. The kids are not in the home with two people. And I don't think we just have to keep brushing that off and say, no, everything's cool. Everything's cool.
as
Everything
a
not
matter of
cool,
fact,
Rashad. And we got to start
But what?
saying that.
But hold on, wait, and then we're gonna get to Guala. But I think to say that, even that point right there of the majority of kids don't have two parents in the home, that wasn't. It's partly because of just how we view relationship, love, and marriage. But it does have a big thing to do with just this is topics about Assata Shakur and COINTELPRO.
Yeah. So
This
what
has a
y'all have to
lot
make
to
a
do with it. So
decision.
it's not just like, oh shit, you know what? Niggas just don't love no more. No, this was a situation in where it was specifically targeted our community to get us in this space. And so then to turn around and ignore that shit and just say, y'all niggas need to come together, that shit be weird. I'm not gonna hold you. Go ahead, Guala, then we got Mastermind.
I do want to say, like, you know what I'm saying, how history is, you know, that is the reason why it's certain, you know what I'm saying, black families that grew up in a certain way. This is coming from someone that actually grew up, you know what I'm saying, through that timeline. And when I see it, I don't ever get no knowledge of what I can become. I just see what these people became and they be okay with it. Like, I started to understand, like, I didn't get a chance to understand, like, why we, you know what I'm saying, go through society as far as, like, you know what I'm saying, working, but not knowing what the purpose of working is. And then when you understand that purpose, it's like everybody's working towards a different direction to get to that purpose. So they're not really ever, you know what I'm saying, ever getting a chance to elevate or focus on themselves. Yeah, and this goes for people who have kids at a younger age. I feel like that shit is crazy. Like you don't have a developed brain to really should you know what I'm saying to really think for what you want for yourself. And so when you have that kid, you gotta raise a kid, and you're a kid still. So
Frontal lobe.
so you don't really ever
Get your
elevate.
frontal lobe right.
But yeah, that's what I gotta say about it.
Go
Hey,
ahead, Real.
Guala, when they
how
have
you gonna
kids, you know,
skip me?
it's
Go ahead,
mastermind next.
bro. Well, that's
Yeah, it's
Oh
crazy.
shit. I thought that
yeah,
my
you
bad.
did.
Yeah, hold
You
on, wait,
did,
Real.
mastermind.
Let
Hold on.
Mastermind.
All right.
What's up, bro? You gonna be quick? If you gonna be quick, I'll wait.
All right, now I was just gonna say to Guala, when these young kids are having kids, Guala, I don't think they're thinking about raising them. I think they're just fucking, and they just didn't take the time to put a condom on to protect themselves. And
Well,
so,
Like Kenya says,
unfortunately,
stop being fucky fucky. Wake it up.
so,
yeah,
let me give y'all some super secret sauce, right? Generally speaking, people who are sexually abused become hypersexual. Do you know the indicator that makes someone 700 times more likely to be sexually abused? Do you know, like, the number one indicator for that? Anybody want to guess? I want to know if anybody
Answer
wants to
your
guess.
own question, nigga.
I
We
want to
ain't
know if
doing this
anybody want to
asking
guess
you first.
first.
Wait, you
No.
said the number one indicator for a child to be abused?
Yeah, sexually abused.
A non-related man in the home?
Hold on, hold on. I know we don't use a soundboard. We're going to use a soundboard today. Yes. When you are not in
Yeah.
the home with your biological parents, that child is 700 times more likely to be abused. And a lot of that hypersexuality in our community comes from the dysfunction in the relationships that we have, right? And so now, understanding that that's where, what Kenya's saying, fix us first. Rashad, I think you minimize, and I also think because you live in Atlanta, because you live in a black Mecca too, outside of that, how fucked up black people are in a general sense, everywhere, all the time, ever, right? And fucked up financially, fucked up mentally, fucked up emotionally, fucked up spiritually, and how all of those things play into the situation we live in now. Like, even the idea of where we have to go, like, and we've talked about this, Rashad, where you have to go to court and ask a white man to mediate between you and your fucking girl about how you're going to take care of kids. It's fucking crazy. It's childlike. It's
But so let me ask
infantilization.
you, is that because that's just who black people are, or is there something at play in which we are predisposed to these things?
You don't, no,
Absolutely,
no.
first of all, absolutely not. That's not just how black people are. That's fucking crazy, right?
Okay,
Let's start with
that's what
that.
I'm
No,
saying.
but Rashad, no, but it could still, something could not be what you are, but still be what you're doing. And at the end of the day, because Rashad, it's funny that you would even call this mindset weird when I branch it out to a collective, but you vehemently agree with this mindset when it comes to the individual. Because when I talked about how women end up in sex work and their backgrounds, nobody really wanted to hear that. You get grown and you're responsible for your choices. You are responsible. Nobody cares about what happened to you as a kid. Go fix yourself, right? That's the sentiment. So why would it not be the same for us? Niggas have
Yeah,
nothing. You have the most resources we've ever had.
with that conversation, that wasn't my sentiments. My sentiments for that conversation was, there are a lot of people, a lot of women out here who make that choice to be in that life because they want to, they perceive the riches of that life. It's not fuck your past and fuck your history and what you've been through that pushed you in that direction. I'm saying that we can acknowledge that those women are in that space because of the stat that Mastermind just brought up. But we can also acknowledge that there are people who just want to do that shit because it looks fun, it looks appealing, and it's perceived that you get a lot of money. I do think that black people do have to be accountable for ourselves in the community. I just said it in the previous topic about old niggas sitting the young niggas down. We do have to have an accountability conversation within the community, but if y'all are going to skip over being exposed to these fucked up situations of redlining, of ghettos, of things that are happening in I think that is doing a disservice, especially when we're talking about overall things, when we're talking about economics, when we're talking about finances, when we're talking about growth as a whole within this country. And then the first thing we got to talk about is, these niggas got baby mamas. It's like, what the fuck? Why are we even bringing that shit up? Like, do you think white people are on welfare more than anybody in this country? White people getting all type of food stamps. It was like 200 of them motherfuckers got arrested for a food stamp scheme. Getting over on Uncle Sam. They don't never have to have conversations about why the fuck they on welfare. They don't never have to have conversations of why they got baby mamas running amok too, and all them niggas need government assistance. It's never a conversation for them to, hey, well, we gotta fix up the white community first because a lot of y'all motherfuckers is killing people and y'all on food stamps, y'all commit the most crimes, y'all on the
Who's
drugs the most
supposed
in
to
this country.
say that for
Nobody
them?
has the
Us?
conversation. Nobody has to do that with them.
You don't know. You don't. First of all, you don't know that because you're not white and you're not amongst white people to have those white
Kenya, do you watch the news?
conversations.
Do you watch the news? Because that's where this shit comes. Like, that's the narrative that's projected. Because the truth is, if you didn't do your own research, you would think that black people sucking up all the goddamn government assistance and don't give a fuck and just sitting on their ass. But the truth is, white people are on that more. If you didn't watch the news, you would think that it's only black people that's on drugs, on these opioids, fentanyl, perks. That's what you would assume until you go and do research.
So I'm supposed to feel better about the state of us because white people are bad too.
No, I don't. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we don't have to continue to bring up our shit when we have these conversations because everybody got their own shit. It's like a family.
No, no, we do have to bring it up because we want it to be better.
Well, yeah, we want to change. Like because I seen how it ruined families like throughout my whole life. Like that's why I want to be a part of. I want to be a part of the change as far as like what I'm saying, getting everything situated. No, but I gotta do some. What I'm saying. I gotta do some learning. I gotta do more. I gotta think about how I can. What I'm saying, do this shit.
How do you have the Kenya, the mindset of as in society, it's the best that it can get. But then within our community, we got more to do. And I'm not saying we don't have more to do, but why
I
won't
think
those sentiments be the same for both situations?
and because as far as race relations are concerned, no, I don't personally foresee it to get any better. I don't foresee white people giving any more equity in this country than they have given. And that's just my honest opinion. So
We
I
never thought we
truly
was gonna
do
get out of them
believe
chains either.
I
Sometimes you
truly do,
like,
and it got to be people like you. And I guess it
we
just
didn't.
is people like me, and maybe thank God for the people like you. But what I'm saying is, while y'all over there trying to, get the reparations or trying to change the laws, somebody needs to be where homegirl over there that done popped out 6 babies and she can't feed them. Somebody need to go talk to her. So while you go do that, that's great. We still have problems on the home front to fix. So, and it's just like, it's like a delayed thing because that's great if it does come, but what is happening to people that need healing and that need a reorganizing of the mind right now? There are families and generations of people that have been on fuck shit and they're going to pass that fuck shit on to their kids. Somebody has to get somewhere next to the kid to say, no, that there is something better. There is something bigger. You don't have to act like this. Life could be better, than this. There's just a better way of living, more opportunity. Like somebody has to be the one to reach, the youth. Cause it's not for the old people, but it's for the teens and the young people that are coming up. You want people in their early 20s and in their mid 20s and late 20s to get married more. Wouldn't you think that that would be good for us? The best way that for all races, the best polar up out of poverty is marriage, combining incomes. And we can't even do that.
Well, also, I think I want to address this whole idea about welfare. Black people just do welfare wrong, and we need to start identifying where our ideas around welfare come from, because I think that's a big problem.
We gonna
And
identify that in a little bit. You about to put niggas on how to get over on welfare. Hold on, Mastermind. One
no, 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 no,
You
no,
want
no,
to
no,
tell
no,
us
no, no,
welfare
no, no,
scams, y'all lock in,
no, no.
lock
I'm
in.
not talking about scamming. I'm not talking about scamming.
She said lock in.
No, listen.
Lock in,
So
lock
here's
in.
not. So listen. So listen. Right. So for example, right, when you look at Apple, Microsoft, right, they're the money they get from the government, billions of dollars, right? Most companies, anyone successful, they made it off the back of the government. The issue is that number one, we think that's a bad thing, right? But that's on purpose. That's not an accident. And number two, right, we look at these like small little handouts, not, oh yeah, these nonprofits that collect hundreds of millions of dollars with $300,000, $400,000 executive salaries, and it's just a nigga that say, yo, I could do it. And the government's like, oh, well, here, manage this money and take your cut, take your piece. We just don't know how to do it. And we think it's a bad thing because we're ignorant to it. And instead of being like, all right, well, how do I go ahead and get this grant money? How do I go ahead and get this? How do I set up my nonprofit and do this public service, get this public service money, right? How do I do that? And how do I also then make that not only benefit me as an individual, how do I set up a business that also benefits? And so like we do the welfare game wrong because if you did it right, you'd make M's, right? Not no fucking $300 a month, not the dumb shit. But they want you to work. They want you to work to create the wealth, and they take the wealth. But you don't know how. But because we don't know how we don't know how the flow of wealth works. That's why we don't have any access to it.
All right, hold on, wait. Let's get to the hands real quick. Rel, Scully, you ain't spoke yet. Let me know if you want to speak. And then we got Hotep, my guy Hotep. He here to kick my back in as usual. Fist in
You
the air
already
for
know,
Hotep.
nigga. You already know.
Go ahead, Rel.
Nah, Scully hasn't spoke yet. I'll go after Scully and Hotep. They haven't spoke. I'll let them get the stage first.
Scully, what's the word? Scully was a comedian yesterday on the timeline. Fish in there for Scully.
Yo, Scully's funny as shit.
I'm
I didn't
good.
know he was that funny.
I'm good. I'm good. Since y'all got Hotep in here, I ain't even gonna get on
Yeah, let's just
stage with
clear
my
out.
bro tep shit.
Let's
Right,
just
honestly,
fucking
With
clear
my
out.
everybody, just
with
go
my
ahead
bro
and
tep shit, but I will say, Rashad, you look crazy talking about this 40 acres and a mule shit when you wasn't paying niggas 40 acres. No,
Yo, listen,
oh
listen.
shit.
Hey yo,
Oh,
hey
shit.
yo.
Hey!
My,
nah, let me chill. Let me chill.
Scully a
nah, that was
wild
good.
nigga, man.
Y'all messy, y'all messy.
Nah, that was funny as hell.
Oh,
Oh
shit.
shit. Can you hear me, nigga?
Yeah, what's the word, fam? How you feeling
Rashad, can
today?
you hear me? You bastard. Can you hear me?
Are we here, man?
How every time we talking about niggas, here you come to the fucking table with the packet of crackers? Why do you do that? Every single time we talking about nigga shit, talking about black shit, here you go. But the crackers, what about the crackers? What about the crackers is on drugs? The crackers is on welfare. The crackers, yo, Rashad, shut up with that shit, my nigga. I don't give a fuck about the crackers. And you need to stop giving a fuck about the crackers. This is why I be trying to tell you. You think the white man ice is colder. You think that the white man's hate hurts more. You think the white man is this all powerful, omniscient, fucking all present, all knowing being, the supreme being because of the country that you live in and the mind state that you have. You need to decolonize your mind, brother. I'm about to get real hotep on you today. Listen, first of all, rest in peace, Assata Shakur. First and foremost, you feel me? But Rashad, 85% of our babies cannot read or do math at grade level. We're not talking about just degeneracy. So yes, I think it's like 0.2 something percent of black Americans commit violent crime and all of that. We can agree on that. That's the minority of the minority. But my nigga, 7 out of 10 black American children are growing up in a house without their father. And what we do is we pat ourselves on the back for the 3 out of the 10, but oh, black fathers are the most involved more than anybody and all this other shit. But it's like, yeah, that's the ones who are involved. So yeah, when we
It's
do all
only
that,
three of them.
so when we do the fathering and we're in the house like you and I and all the other shit, we're dynamos. We're lit, my nigga. We do it better than anybody else in the country. But nigga, you're ignoring the 7 out of the 10, nigga. So again, it's not just welfare, drugs, crime, and all this other shit. It's just regular shit. Going to school, taking care of your family and shit.